Hi, in this lesson I'm going to talk about double strokes. We're going to break the double stroke roll down and we're going to build it up until we can use some more advanced techniques to work on your speed. So the basic double stroke means hitting the drum twice, as simple as that. So this is a double stroke. This is a double stroke. Right, it's irrelevant what technique we use, that's a double stroke. Now double stroke roll, like open roll, mummy daddy roll, I'm sure it's got millions of other names, means this. So we hit the right hand twice and then we hit the left hand twice, or we do the reverse, we hit the left hand twice and the right hand twice, and that keeps going. Now the length of the roll could be 4 beats, 4 hits I should say, or 4,000 hits. Okay, it's still a roll. Now we get different techniques for different speeds. As we reach a threshold of speed, we may change to another technique, and another threshold we change to another technique until we get to super fast. Now in this first part of this lesson I'm just going to talk about playing double strokes. So this is for beginners who've never played double stroke before. All we're going to do is, if you hit the drum once, whatever technique you use, or instead of hitting it once, hit it twice. Now to start with, we're going to be quite rigid the way we're going to do it. We're going to get the stick to bounce back up on our first hit, and then we're going to press it down on the second hit. So we get what's called a full stroke, which means bouncing all the way back to where it came from, and then down stroke, we stop it low. So we're going to go full stop, full stop, full stop, full stop. Let's just keep that going. So if you've got sticks in front of you now, just join in with me. So it's a full stroke and then down stroke. A full stroke, down stroke. Full stroke, down stroke. Full stroke, down stroke. Now we're trying to get the first stroke to bounce on its own, or with a little bit of help, all the way back up here. So we're bouncing right up with the first one. Full stop, full stop, full stop, full stop. Now we're going to change the rhythm now to be full stop, full stop, full stop, full stop. Now that's the basics of us playing double strokes. Now what you'll find is you could do that up to a fair speed, right? With a bit of practice. At a certain point they're going to suddenly feel really crushed and a bit nasty sounding. That's because they're not working together, they're working independently. So it's kind of like the right hand does its bit, then the left hand does its bit, the right hand does its bit, left hand does its bit. So they would be okay if we were playing really slow. So that's probably a technique I'd use. So once we reach the first threshold, we're changing, and what we're going to do is we're going to try and make more of a rounded motion. So while this hand's playing, this one's lifting, or this one's playing, this one's lifting. So if you just put your sticks in this position in front of you, make a little L shape, change the other hand, make a reverse L, and back, and back. Just do that for say 20 seconds till your muscles get used to the idea of what's going on. As while the right hand is pushing downwards, the left hand's lifting up, and vice versa. Now if we kind of do that now over the drum, get this sort of motion. Now, at the moment, we're purposely being quite regimented, okay, like windscreen wipers, okay. So there's a definite start and stop. Now let's just kind of loosen it up. And that's the motion we're looking for. What we then do is we change into doubles. So, well, the right hand's playing, left hand's lifting up. Left hand's playing, right hand's lifting up. So if I slow it down and talk about what I'm thinking about here, instead of thinking about what's hitting the drum, I'm thinking about this: left, right, left, lift, right, lift, 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 lift. Now I'm still at the moment, I'm not using any techniques to get to play the doubles faster. I'm just hitting the drum twice in a row, okay? Whatever technique, I'm just pressing and hitting it twice. So again, that lifts us from say very slow up. The first technique was very slow to slow. We're now looking at sort of slow to medium. We can use this same technique. Now at this point, I'm going to change, right? Because it's uncomfortable. I feel all this, my hands are starting to strain. Now what I'm going to do then is I'm going to jump up to the next technique. And the next technique for this is going to be what we would call a 2-for-1 technique. So with one bit of energy or one motion, one stroke, we get 2 hits. So if I do this with the stick, if I go 1, 2, you can see that my stick went down, up, down, up. So that's two hits, down and up, down and up. Well, if I do this, my arm went down once, but I got 2 hits, and that's a 2-for-1. So to do that, I've got to talk a little bit about these fingers, because that's how I'm going to approach getting 2 hits with 1 drop. Now, with any of these techniques and these thresholds I'm talking about, there's different ways of doing it. I'm just going to talk about the way that I do it, okay? So the way I play doubles in a 2-for-1 kind of idea is I'm holding the stick in my match grip position. I'm playing it in German technique, which means they're kind of fingers are facing each other rather than the French technique, which are on top. And what I'm doing is I'm using these three fingers here as a bit of a shock absorber. Now I'm holding the first fulcrum, so my thumb and first finger are in line like this. I'm not using a second one, although I could do, but the first one is easiest at the moment. And what I'm doing with these back fingers is these are moving the stick up and down in this position here. Now if I'm playing lots of singles, they're going to actually physically move in the stick. In this double idea, instead of moving the stick, they're going to be absorbing the stick and just pushing it back into its original position. So as I hit the drum and the stick rebounds, if I have my fingers with it, that happens. Right? If I stop my fingers from opening, so I kind of lock it, then that happens. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of getting between those two ideas. I'm letting the stick hits the drum. As it rebounds back, my fingers take the shock of the stick and then pull it back into its original position, at which point I relax and it hits the drum again. So the stick comes back up, I take a bit of the shock, I sort of absorb the shock I should say, and then I bring it back, and then I let the stick, gravity basically pull the stick back down again, so I get this. Now it's difficult to do really slow because I wouldn't use it really slow, I'd use the first technique. But I'm going to try and do my best to show you. So we get that kind of motion there. So my fingers stop the stick and press it back down. Now at the speed I would do it, and this one really can go up to pretty fast tempos, this particular part of the technique. So, let's just quickly recap what's going on there. Right, my arm, because I do use a fair bit of arm when I do doubles as well. My arm is bending slightly here in this motion. My shoulder is moving in and out slightly, so my shoulder muscles are moving my arm in and out slightly, and my wrist is probably still bending, but a small amount. So all the muscles are just doing a little bit of the effort each, rather than one, for instance, playing everything, which would be just my wrist. I'm using a bit of everything. So I'm kind of trying to get that middle ground between powering through and that weedy kind of playing on top of the head roll. And that's going to give us that technique there. Now exercises. So what can you do to practice that? Well, I would first practice single-handed. So I'd play something like this. Which is a drum corps exercise just called double beat. If I keep time so you can hear what the downbeat is, it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4. Now by just focusing on one hand, I can really see what I'm doing right and what I'm doing wrong, as opposed to just doing this, where you can't really focus on what's going on. Right, but at some point I've got to swap from that double beat sort of exercise into two-handed exercises. So what I then try and do, this particular technique, this speed that we're at, I'm trying to get my arms moving in the same motion when I'm playing singles, or if I'm doing that double. So to start with, I just do that on a practice pad, get my arms moving. I'm exaggerating my motion a little. I'm just dropping in a few doubles. So an exercise you might do would just be this. So 4 and 4, 4 and 4, 8 and 8, I think that was. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I'd then try different tempos, maybe the metronome. And I'd loop that around a few times. Now what I then want to do is pick out individual diddles in there, so I can really make sure that my arms are playing the same motion no matter what at what point I drop diddles in. So there's a quick exercise we can do, which is a really simple one. We're going to play 8 beats for the hands. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now 1 and 5, we're going to drop doubles in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So diddles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, get that rhythm. So if we think of 16th notes, then we're doing 32nd note diddles there. So 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. We'll do the same thing now, but we'll move everything across 1/16th note. So we now get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that was on 2 and 6. Or 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. So the first one's on the downbeats, the second one's on the E's. So I'll put them together. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 3 E and a. I'll move it across another one. So on the and beats now. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. Okay, if you're just counting to 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 3 and 8. And then finally the 4 and the last beat. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Or 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, stop. So I'll play that full out for you on the snare drum so you can hear this exercise. Now what I'm listening for though when I'm playing it is I'm listening for pulse. I'm listening making sure I'm not hitting one hand louder than the other. I'm trying to make my arms feel the same whether they're playing singles or those 32nd note little doubles or diddles. I don't know if I've used the word diddle in this tutorial already, but a diddle and a double are the same thing. Okay, so diddle is just that, double is just that. Excuse me. And the final thing is I'm looking for is volume, so I want to make sure everything's the same. So I don't want this. So to round up the doubles lessons, I suppose, there's different thresholds I reach where I change technique. So very slow, I've got this start-stop kind of technique. Once I get to probably around that tempo, maybe slightly slower, I'm then doing the same motion. I'm hitting the drum twice, but my hands are doing this idea. The next stage, the next threshold I reach, it's not the final one, but in these tutorials it's going to be the final one, is where I start to use these as shock absorbers, so the 2-for-1 idea. Now, extreme tempos, which I'd never really do on kit. There's another technique which I may do some a tutorial on at some point where I'm playing super fast. So it's a slightly different technique, but I mean, how often do I need to do that on a drum as loose as these? So I'm going to skip that one for the moment. So go away, see if you can make some exercises up. Remember what I said about practicing one-handed. For me, that's the key to it. It's just working out one hand and then checking the other hand's the same or your fingers the same and practicing that hand. And hopefully that'll help you improve your basic double strokes. Okay.